哎，我这个好像没有看到 live。
YouTube going.
OK，
Wait a minute. wait a minute. I share the link. Share the link. 1、2、3。
It's done.
Yeah, where I share the link is okay. Wait, just a few minutes.
A minute.
Have a voice for GTV.
Are you talking to me? Let me.
Yeah, OBS.
Are we live now?
Yeah. Okay, it's okay.
All right.
Ready.
Shall we begin?
Yeah, begin.
Okay. Let me introduce. Are we ready?
Yeah.
I can't really see any pictures in front of me, so I'm sure you have shared the posters on the screen.
Okay, share.
Yeah. Okay. So let's begin. Let me do the greeting. Hello everyone. This is Himalaya UK, a weekly program, English language and broadcasting program named Hong Kong Signs of the Times. It's jointly hosted by Sky Sun, a very smart young man from Hong Kong, and me, Dr. Ming of the Go Library. Today we have a new episode titled The Demise of Rule of Law. So, hello.
Yeah.
Sky, would you please greet to our audience and introduce the cover for us?
Yes, welcome to our the audio about the Hong Kong Times, Hong Kong Signs of the Time. Then our today the topic is demise of a rule of law, and there's next week after the next week is about talking Hong Kong government how to the brainwash about the student how the education, and then today we will talk more about detail the no separation of the law of power. So you can see this picture is I really love about this picture is can show how today the Hong Kong rule of law, how the government, police, and the big brother is used all the way to break about the law. So you can see the judgment girl, they take the about wood, and then a part of the balance is move on the one side, and then cherry lamb is take out the sword because this sword is can adjust about the bad guys or the evil. So they take out them and then stop the about judgment cannot, the sound cannot show out, and then the picking is for freedom. Where pigeon is for freedom, and then they can there's like the Hong Konger or like the other people they find that they want to protect the freedom. So you can see the have very bird in the down, and then the police take about the sickle, yeah, is to attack about the picture. So you can see the picture is now in Hong Kong. It's same, follow the topic that we talked about. Around this picture is same.
This is the cover, right? Is it? It looks like an oil painting, isn't it?
Painting, yeah.
It looks like an oil painting. Yes. Sky Sun just introduced to us what this painting about. So our topic today is the demise of the rule of law, and one of these the features of the erosion, yeah, of the Chinese Communist Party (CCP) of the Hong Kong rule of law system is that the justice is gone.
Yeah.
Here we can see from this painting that in the middle there's a figure, yeah, this lady, and she represents the justice.
Yeah.
And usually this is a very a very westernized typical figure which always embodies the justice. She has a sword on one hand, yeah, and a scale on the other. So that basically means that the scale means like equality. So everybody is equal in front of the justice, in front of the law. And then on the other side, on the other hand, she's holding a sword, means that she defends the justice. That is the symbolism of the justice, yeah, in a democratic society. And however, here we can see that and her sword was grabbed by Carrie Lam, yeah, and of course the scale was not in the right position, and her mouth was of course was covered by Carrie Lam. That means justice is not allowed to be spelled. So and then we can see the police figures standing behind in the darkness, and that gave us the impression that the police power is unlimited, okay,
yeah,
unrestrained. So they are overpowered. They are overpowerful at the moment, which is of course is not right. And if police power is excessive, that means justice will be affected. And then we also see some pigeons. Pigeons, we all know that they embody and peace, yeah. And peace, yes, usually peace. And now we can see either they are slaughtered, died on the ground, on the floor, or they fly away. So that this all shows that it's really a dark age of Hong Kong. There's no peace, there's no justice, but there are police and the pro-Beijing, pro-CCP Carrie Lam. So this is the cover about. Yeah. Shall we move on, please?
Yeah, we
Sky?
go to our topic.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So we can see the King Kong. There you see about a movie, and then it said Hong Kong is dying since 1997, and then the King Kong take about the CCP. Then you can imagine that one of the speak up about the officer is Lam to allow today that happen in Hong Kong, and then more every younger people will be scared or cannot you younger, so the police will be focused on you because you are a protester, you are against them. So you can see the picture, and then no separation of the power, and the Lam is said that.
Yeah, this we will know. There is a very famous film, almost a classic, named King Kong, and then it's it sounds a bit similar to the name of this city, which is Hong Kong, and unfortunately, here we really have some like a very huge monster. Yeah, you can see he's really big, form, and really is out of the proportion in terms that he's really strong and big, and of course he's a monster, so he's inhumane. And then here we can see he has a face of Carrie Lam. So that gives us the implication in terms that she is the King Kong. She's a barbaric. She's not a human. She's not a human being. She's a monster. Yeah, and because she's in the most powerful position in Hong Kong, and now Hong Kong people suffered. So you can see that the buildings are toppled, and then and there were fire, and people sort of like running around, and even the bus is inclined to one side, and the people like yes, the people were in panic.
Yeah.
So you can see the order is destroyed. Yeah. And then we can see Carrie Lam. On one hand, she's holding this CCP symbol, the sickle plus the hammer. So that means the CCP. So she's holding high that. It shows that to whom she's accountable to. And then on the other hand, she's grabbing a very small tiny a woman. And that shows that, okay, that's the way she treats her people.
Yeah.
So this poster is telling us. And we can see there's some words there which says that, all right, authoritarianism. This is authoritarianism, which represented by Carrie Lam. Of course, she's a proxy of the CCP. But then, of course, she's a part of the CCP regime now, and she's ruling Hong Kong. And also, there's another word called, it's very interesting here, it's called cannibalism. So it means that yes, that means it's like a human being eating.
Yeah.
So we can see this is basically means that this regime, it's a very repressive, and it doesn't care about its people, but rather it suppressed people. Yeah. So that means they're eating people. So these are the informations we can get from this poster. Is Carrie Lam, she's Carrie Lam, she's King Kong, and now she's pressed down Hong Kong and make a mess in that beautiful city.
So another
it's
one,
look like a hell.
Yeah. So another one just only tell us the poster is that centralization of power, but we will talk about is more about no separation of power, because they not CCP is control all, and then they have more power for the protested police when they now is a situation to can keep the CCP alive.
This poster basically shows some characters that are both in English and Chinese. It basically says that there's no more separation of powers. When we talk about the power, in a democratic society, especially in a democratic and a rule of law society, you have separation of powers, in the government. So you have legislative, and you have executive, and you have a judicial power. So these powers, they're separated, and they could check and balance against each other. So that's the way how the government to restrain itself, to discipline itself, and because they monitor each other, okay? They supervise each other, and they so like hold each other, in position. So this is very necessary. It's very necessary to separate the powers. But however, nowadays, under the leadership of Carrie Lam, there's no separation of this power, but rather the power all centralized, by the CCP appointed officials, including Carrie Lam herself. This shows a very worrying tendency or a reality even that the executive power is too much. Yeah, it's excessive. There's no justice. There's no so the judicial power and the legislative power have been considerably weakened.
Yeah.
So there's excessive executive power, and this executives represented and led by Carrie Lam, and now they are working for the CCP government. Yeah, they ignore the people's interest. Yeah. So that's very worrying. That's also a typical sign or evidence to show that Hong Kong's rule of law society is really eroded. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can show the
next
poster to more detail about how the no separation of power. Yeah, you can see the record about how when the CCP need about the to return about Hong Kong, they will talk about one country, two system. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was in 1997 when the sovereignty of Hong Kong was handed back to China from UK, right? Okay. So there's such a basic law which enshrine this principle in terms that Hong Kong would have separation of power, as we said, yeah. And so we have 3 government branches, and they check and balance against each other. However, we can see from the left poster, we have these 2 governmental chiefs, which said that we just officially declared, yeah, there is no separation of power in Hong Kong. As the one on the left, you can see that one, that man is the Secretary of Education, right?
Yeah.
And then on the left, that's Carrie Lam, and we can see that behind them, this red thing. This is the People's Republic of China's national flag, and then it occupies all the top part of this poster, which means that this one is in the upper position, and it pressed down, it suppressed the so-called rule of law society, which is Hong Kong. And now the rule of society is repressed, yeah, by the PRC. Basically, the PRC ruled by the CCP regime. Basically, it implies the CCP is now repressing the rule of law society of Hong Kong. And now we have these two agents of the CCP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Hong Kong show you in a rule of law, and then you can see the left hand side, the poster that have a left red in a Hong Kong painting, and then you can see Hong Kong is become to mainland city. There's they talk no separation of the power. Why they talk it? Because they need to use the soul, how they now is controlled by them and controlled by police. We can see another the right hand side, the detail about when they talk before 1997, they will use will have a concept about the UK and talk about more Hong Kong how based on the one country two system, based on the common law. They will agree all the contract or the permission. When they compete the situation, return to about the Hong Kong in mainland or CCP, so they will break down their talking. They will just use their system, because the commitment is complete. They said, do you remember they said before the one country two system, the contract is commitment. So they know talk about the one country two system. So in the 2003, there is a Hong Kong already have the aspect of separation of
Separation,
power.
separation
The
of
separation
power.
of power. They have
Yeah.
some can rule, can follow. When today they think now they cannot protect the Lam, the officer or the CCP, so they will talk. They never have. So all the situation is they talk. No based on the commitment or the principle. So the CCP no honest to talk about anything.
Yeah, the poster on the right hand side basically shows us that there is a record, yeah, of this, the record concerning this separation of power. And then we can see that when you turn back the time, and apparently this narrative, yeah, about the separation of power has been changed over the time. And firstly, when we see at the time when the sovereignty of Hong Kong was handed back from was handed over by the UK to the CCP government, and the promise was like, the Hong Kong political system is based on the separation of power. All right.
Yeah.
So that's also enshrined in the Basic Law, which was jointly agreed by bilaterally by the CCP power as well as the British government. And then as time goes by, and when we reach in 2003, and of course, and then the government of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, they also spelled out that in Hong Kong there is separation power, and the governmental system is transparent and is rule of law. And then when we reach now to the year of 2020, and the government changed its narrative and said in Hong Kong there's never been separation of power. And of course, there's so-called separation of say allocations, duties. Yes, yeah. Duties. Yeah, there's a duties or the jobs, but no separation of power. So you can see that there's a change of narrative. So the government plays the words, plays the word, and in order to to wipe out the separation of power, which is basically fundamental to a rule of law society. So that's what it's about. Yeah.
Yeah. So we can. This is a total record, and then we show the next. Is for
next poster.
6 September on that day. That day is on. Actually, have a Hong Kong. We have the vote in the Hong Kong legislature election. Is on that day. But because the CCP bias and they need to delay because they have more people to come on the day to polling to the void about the legal. But now they delay the polling date, and then people Hong Konger or citizens to go out to talk more about talking today what happened, and then actually finally the police will be do the build of violence to teenager, and then capture more about people. You can see on right hand side the more detail what happened that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, would you like to say something about the poster on the left-hand side?
You can see the one hand is bigger, then they can control all the stop all the people, because the vote is the citizen their power. They can capture and incept about the government how they can do a good or not. So this time is only the citizen to instead their meaning, their watching about the government how the job is okay or not. It's same about the test. If you cannot do the bad, the people can kick it out. So I think this for the everybody need to concern about the void, because that is really important. Not for sharing anything, money or can change other service. That is for your only way to show your power.
Okay. Yeah. Let me say more things. And yeah. I like to start from giving more explanation to the poster on the left. As we can see that it seems that it's a tug of war. Yeah. So there's a big hand which comes from the top, and then there are say like little figures which seems to stay at the lower position. So there's a tug of war between say basically some like the top-down power versus the right bottom up. So it's about the vote. Yeah, according to the schedule, there is a legislative election in early September. However, many incidents happened. Of course, the Beijing-backed government would not allow this happen. So this is sort of like a tug of war. So there is a wrestling between two sorts of forces. One is top down, which of course means the government, backed by Beijing, and they are in a very powerful position. And then the Hong Kong people, they are bottom up. Yeah, they try to say like exercise their legal rights to cast a vote to elect the lawmakers they like, who would pro-democracy, who would say defend the rule of law society, and that's this poster on the left implies. And then we move to the right, and this poster basically gives us a very detailed description what happened on 6th September, which is supposed to be the polling day, as Sky explained to us. And then there are lots of records about the police abuse violence and to arrest people. And now, very ridiculous is that when to exercise one's voting right is viewed as a violation to the national security, right? And so there are typically say like evidence in many ways, and there are some examples here. First of all, we can see that they're so-called like a sinking a sword police. They are now say like everywhere, and that means if you give some opinions which is supposed to be like political dissident, then you will get arrested. So I can see that this the freedom of expression or the freedom of dissident speech is gone in Hong Kong. And for example, if somebody wants to say like express something which displeases the government, and they would say label you in terms of you inciting hatred against the government, or incite dissatisfaction among the public, and because of that, they would say charge you for an expression crime offense. So this is a police who's policing people's thoughts, people's thinking, and they will censor and also what is that? Yes, to wipe out dissident ideas, expressions, opinions. Yeah, and so however, it's actually it's described here that it's actually government and the police, yeah, whose behaviors were really disgusted and hated by the Hong Kong people. However, unfortunately, in the eyes of these culprits, they think it's the people's fault rather than the government's fault. So this is the one aspect which is evident to show the ridiculous thing on 6 September, of course. And then when we move on, there's another aspect which is also example that there's a bus driver. She no, well, sorry, that's a he, right?
Yeah.
That's man,
Just
right? Sorry, yeah, a bus driver. Yeah, bus driver got got arrested, allegedly for dangerous driving.
Yeah.
Dangerous driving because purely because he just pressed a horn. So, and he just pressed a horn to warn the bus in front of him, and he stopped by the police and asked to get off, and then stood for nearly an hour. That's a penalty, yeah. And later he was arrested, and the police said he deliberately challenged the police work, and he has seriously affected the police work, yeah. And also he stirred up the mood of the citizens who were there, and that's why they arrested him in the name of dangerous driving. So nowadays, basically, anybody who displeases the police is likely to be taken away or incarcerated, and that is typical Hong Kong today. So this is the second aspect which shows us as evidence that how dangerous, how dark Hong Kong is. And then the third evidence, I think, is almost covered in many mainstream media, is that this 12-year-old young girl, yeah, was unreasonably pressed down and rolled over, yeah, by the police. This is so basically it's like a male policeman chased after this young girl and struck her in the front, and then pressed on her and pressed her knees. She was with her own brother, yeah. She was with her brother, and her brother was trying to help to protect the girl.
Yeah.
And they were there only because that they went there to buy a pastel crayons.
Yeah.
So they were not even for protesting at all. And this shows that the police is very ill-intentioned to the young people, and very much targeting on young people, and they abuse their violence and their arrest. All right. So the girl tried to run away because she didn't want to be caught to be tortured, and then to extort a guilty confession, which she didn't commit at all. So but police said, okay, this girl's behavior was very suspicious because she ran away. So they only used the minimum necessary force to subdue her. So which is of course is not true, yeah. So this is a third example to show the police violence and abuse of power. And then additionally, and we can see, yes, I personally saw this video, which is posted on YouTube. Twitter. It's like, yeah, we can see, yes, this is only you can see a very tiny young teenager, and he was dragged away by a group of plain clothes policemen, just like that. So you can see he's absolutely, helpless. He's not harmful at all. He's not threatening, and that's how he's treated by the police. So this is also a very, it's a terrible, terrible example. And he was dragged about so like over 100 meters, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. And yes, this is ridiculous. You can see her top and her trousers was so like a half taken off. Um, this well, she he looks like in pain, and this is really inhumane. Yeah. And this is really so like you can see the police bad behavior just intensified. Okay, that's an example. Another one was that that day there were about
Reporter.
there were at least 289 people got arrested, and most of them were charged for illegal assembly. Yeah. So illegal assembly, and then the person who reported this to remind people that 289. This is not just a number, but actually there are real life citizens, Hong Kongers, first agers, men and women, old and young. And it's ridiculous that the policemen actually they do not feel anything wrong when they arrest people randomly like that, and it seems that it's part of the normal life of Hong Kong. And people now seems that even when they just go out to the street and their personal freedom would be in danger. And then the last aspect, which this poster shows us, that the police now has intensified its violence against journalists. They arrest and they also issue tickets to many journalists, right? And the journalists were not sort of approved by the police. And in the past, maybe it's just sort of like a push you away. And now they use like more forces to drag you down, to strike you, and even say like fire like pepper balls to the journalists, where they just stand by themselves with no protesters whatsoever. So and then this in the picture, this one journalist was so like struck to the ground and in twitch. So these are all the examples, yeah, to show that on the 6th September, they scheduled like a polling day, and how the police misbehaved, how the police violently treated the citizens. So that's the information they got, which is very detailed and which is very good.
Yeah, that you can say that the same sentence is about if you are younger people, you have some protester mask, or you are a reporter and you have take a view in about police. The police will be violent for you. You do anything, the police will feel not good, so they will be charge you just on it. We can show next video. That is about the younger 12 younger girl, and then not before 1 week, about 31st August, another case is pushing down about the fingered woman. So there you can see how they have a video. I saw that. Wait a minute.
Yeah. Yes, this is the words here very sarcastic.
Yeah, that is for the.
So you can see, there are contrasts. Yeah, okay. Well, one was on the 31st August. There's an incident in terms that the police dragged down a pregnant woman. Yeah. So how could a pregnant woman be threatening?
You cannot imagine.
Yes, another one. Yes, like about 1 week later, And we have this 12-year-old, a very tiny little young girl, yeah, who was say like pushed down by the police. And then we can see this very sarcastic, yeah, word here saying, okay, join the police force, exercise your aspiration. So basically, they do not, the police here, they are not for enforcement, they are not for service. They just say like, sort of like very violent towards some weak people. Yeah, like even say like women, young girls who are very, very vulnerable. Yeah, but that's how police treat them. So, and yeah, we have this video here. We can see that that's the pregnant woman. You see, very messy. Then
Yeah, how can you imagine about the police can do that? There's one life, two life on about one human, and then what happened? How can what imagine to do this can push down about the woman? I don't think there is a human for in that
yeah,
situation.
there's no reason for that. It's unreasonable at all. That's really terrible. That's disgusting.
Yeah. So you can
The
see
girl, yeah,
you can
the
see
girl was just like a passerby. She just went there to buy some pastel crayons. She was not there for protesting even. She's only 12-year old. And you can see she's very tiny. And she's already subdued. And she didn't really have any ability to challenge or to say like impose any danger to anyone. Never mind the police. The police was fully armed, yeah. So this is really ridiculous.
so they have the little image they showed about you want to join about police, so you can do anything about you want. I will say that because you have a more power, and then you can say if you do the power of a build of a violence, you know any have a it's all safe because the Hong Kong government will protect you. Why? On before we will talk about how the Department of Justice to investigate the case. You can see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This next poster, yeah.
Yeah, we can show the why we will have a poster about you join the police, and then you can do anything when you are police. So we next poster. Wait. Okay. Yeah. There's one is a total story about that day.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So shows that three figures, yeah, in the castration. Of course, this is a cartoon,
Yeah.
and see why they were put in prison there.
Yeah.
And they each of them gave gave the reason why they were incarcerated.
I talk about the one. I am here because of bringing a spider as a bus driver.
Spanner, yeah.
Spanner.
Yes.
How about you? So you can see the only driver take about spider. There's one movie about football about said that they have a spider, so it's just only to maintain about the bus. So and then they take the spider to attack the people. So I think the police maybe the imagine more.
Yeah, this is just a necessary tool to maintain the bus. So he just keep it handy, and then it sounds like the police consider that's a kind of weapon. So that's the ridiculous bit about it. And then the next one says, okay, I typed a couple of slogans on the internet.
Yeah.
And of course, there are lots of things you're not allowed to say these days. For example, if you say 5 demands, not one less, you could be arrested.
Mm.
And the third one is that buying pastel crayons. That's what the girl, the 12-year-old girl, and her brother were doing when they got, say, like detained and pressed down by the police.
Yeah.
So that's entirely ridiculous. It's absolutely, unreasonable.
Mm. So we can show the history.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's how the police to
Rewrite
rewrite the
history.
history. This
Yeah.
that's story history. So one case is 21st June, and then the police said July. Then said
That's
why
last year, yeah. When the Yunlong,
yeah
the white T-shirt people, the tried, yes, indiscriminately, again, say like a violently beat passengers
yeah
in the MTR station of Yunlong, yeah.
the
Yes.
indiscriminate injuries. Then the police will say that they have two parties have an opinion. The two opinion parties they have a argue, and then they will the right should have been provoked, and then to attack people. So they will change the story, and then the police actually used about 39 minutes to on the same size. But now the police will say they have 18 minutes, and then you will change about the story, and on the right hand side have a timeline to show how can make a story for stop the police on their action, or they are reasonable to for now the department of address. But now the third party to involve to instigate about the 21st July. There's no news or no happen for now.
Yeah, we understand that. These are the examples in terms of the police, Hong Kong police rewrite history. Yeah. As far as we are concerned, that there are lots of abundant evidence to show that on the 21st July last year, this the white T-shirt trials indiscriminately attacked passengers, civilians, yeah, innocent ones. And now this year, 1 year later, and the narrative have changed. And the police journalists say that no, this is not to say like the tried attacked the innocent civilians. It's like two camps of people with matching strengths had a fight, yeah, had a fight, and the white T-shirt people were incited and were challenged by the other camp, and so that they fought back. So the story became like that. And then also the police changed try to falsify the fact in terms of it took them 39 minutes to get to the site after a report, but now they changed the narrative to say no, it only took like less than half of that time for the police to get to the station, get to the site. So it's like 18 minutes. So this shows us how the police falsified the facts. And then on the right hand side,
we
can
see
yes,
the left hand side poster, the background is the police and the right shirt people is together. You can see that they were together and let them go away.
You're all right. It basically says that the collusion between the police and the rioters, yeah. So the trials, and 1 year after the Yunlong mob attack, and we can see the government has manipulated all the narratives, and now the complaint becomes the defendant. And even the lawmaker who was there was arrested by the police, and he himself was beaten up. Yeah, and then how the government and the police define the 21st July incident, And we can see this from the right poster, which gives us detailed of the change. And originally it's mob attack of citizen. Now it's like the clash between two camps with matching strengths. So then there's a timeline. So like 1 year ago versus now. So 1 year ago on the second day of the Yuanlang incident, and the police said, all right, there's some people on the platform and also inside the coach of the train attacking passengers and caused a big casualties. And then this year, and somebody said, no, it's because some people with different political views had some disputes, and then they start to fight against each other. So this person, who's him? He's a detective training division. He's a chief of that division, detective training chief. And then the next thing also we see, last year, this is Zhang Jianzhong, chief secretary of administration, and basically the second in command of the Carrie Lam government. So he's a very high rank official, and he said yes. Last year he said was like rioters deliberately assault like innocent citizens. And now the story changed in terms of the pro-Beijing groups accused the lawmaker who was on side, deliberately, incite the dispute, and so that there is a fight, and they request the police to arrest relevant people. And the next is like Deng Bixiang. We know that he's a police commissioner, and I think he's sanctioned by the U.S. government, right? Because he's a very important figure, very pro-Beijing, and he's one of the worst, which basically like a hitman for the CCP in pressing down the protests in Hong Kong. And what he said was that, and there's some lawmaker basically refer to this Mr. Lam, lawmaker led a group of black T-shirt people and like fought against the white T-shirt people, and which made a big incident.
They will say
so
the
that's
same
his
about
story.
the right hand side, right shirt about the people. They will be broken about the MTR and say more about the broken about situation, the effect. So they will say the two sides have a variance.
And also this one, Kevin Kong, Jiang Yongsheng, he said that's, oh dear. Oh, right. He said basically it's one group of people led a group of investors to enter Windong, and then they thought like cause the incidents. And then we go back to this police commissioner, and he said, of course, this is in March and May this year, and he said apart from the white T-shirt people assaulted citizens, well, the black T-shirt people, they use how to say the fire extinguisher and the water hose to attack the other group, and they broke the facilities. So and the two sides have resulted like violence, and the police should carry out investigation into both. So that's what he said. And then exactly on the day of the first anniversary of this incident, the police said they will make a thorough investigation into that incident, and then they will exercise arrest when at due time. So that's what they say. And now, about say like on 20th August, the police arrested 6 people. Allegedly, they are the white T-shirt people involved in that incident that day, 1 year ago. Yeah, on 21st of July.
I think in this poster, the main concept is 21st July on 2000. The police is waiting the suitable time, because they wait. What is a suitable time? I think is the CCP console about the Hong Kong, the time they can suitable for them to have evidence to prove them is right.
I thought like it's just so like whitewash everything, and then to make people to cover up the truth with false information.
Yeah.
So, for example, they would smear that the lawmaker, Mr. Lam, has something wrong, have done something wrong. Yeah. Although he was beaten up himself and got wounded that day, and the police now accused him of leading a group to fight against the other group. So this is absolutely a pack of lie, and which is false. They expect that people could not remember that very well, and they also would like disinform those who are not there, to understand, maybe to mislead, to say, okay, oh wow, this is not say like a mob attack on innocent citizens, but rather there are 2 camps, like a gangsters fight against each other.
Yeah.
So like with matching strengths, So this is called in due time, because when the people who know this got say like cover up, and then when those who are not there and want to have some information, and the government to feed the disinformation. So this is all about. This is what it's all about. That it just within 1 year you can see, the narrative has been considerably changed and the facts all got falsified. This is what the poster tells us.
Yeah, we can show the next. It's also
it's a very detailed,
it's all right. Case about
that's also very, very detailed description.
Yeah,
I think the Hong Kong people, there are some people who really invest lots of time and effort to collect all these facts and then put them into these posters, and to say like spread it around to inform people what happened in Hong Kong, and to inform people and to alert people and what's going on in Hong Kong.
So in this poster that we can see, it's also be on the one before the 1 year. The one is on the September. The driver to it's danger driver to make the people to the to how to
break the warned people. This is the person. This is a taxi driver.
So you can
taxi driver drove into the pedestrian paths, and then knocked down 3 women, and one of them had her both feet fractured. This is driver. We have his ID.
And we can compare about before about one is a dangerous driver. As the city bus, you can compare which one is a danger. And then another one is about the police shoot about the younger people on November. So then Department of Justice is inversed about the case. They not allow the people to make a personally to sue about the
to attend the hearing. Freedom from attending the hearing. The court hearing. Yes.
So the final one is very, very I think it's a joke, because the one is have a police find out about the police family. They have a drug in their home, but the same of the way the drugs department need to involved about the case, and then say not anything will be true, and then the the case in the about drugs, they will say they have all precedent, they can win about the case, but the Department of Justice saying not need to do that, but they will sue about another one is just only have one tumbling, just a more bicycle tumbling that have a 3 months to in the judgment. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Hong Kong rule of law. This is basically what you see here on the left hand side in the poster. It's the three evidence, three examples which shows that the Hong Kong rule of law has been terribly eroded. Basically, those who are pro the government, even if they violate the law, there's no consequence. But rather, they could really, they sort of like rather than being the defendant, they can be the complaint. So that means they are not defendant any defendants anymore. So it's because of the interference by the government. And we have three examples here. One is the person, a taxi driver, who drove into the protesters in October last year, while there was protests in Hong Kong, and he deliberately drove into the onto the pedestrian path, and then wounded 3 women, and one was really got a fractured feet. And so far there is no charge made at all by the Justice Department, but rather there is a pro-Beijing group, and they awarded this taxi driver, dangerous driving taxi driver, 520,000 Hong Kong dollars. But of course we have this Xu Zhifeng. He's a lawmaker. He launched a private criminal offense against this driver, right? And the court issued a summons requesting him to attend the hearing. But then the Justice Department chief, that is Teresa Chen, she intervened and freed this taxi driver from attending that hearing. And rather the very pro-Beijing lawmaker, we all know him, Junius Ho, Junius Ho, right? He represents this driver, and he demand 82,000 Hong Kong dollars administration, charging fee from the lawmaker who launched this lawsuit against him. This is very ridiculous. And then the second example is this policeman who made a live fire. That was happened in November 2019. And then he's a transport police. He fired live towards a young boy, and of course wounded him terribly. And this lawmaker Xu Zhifeng, he launched a private criminal offense against him, and the court also issued a summons for him to attend the hearing. And then also Teresa Chan, the head of the Justice Department, intervened. Not only revoke the charge, but let him go. So that's, and the third one is about this. Third example is that there's a woman who's a saleswoman who stays in a police dormitory, yeah, and in 2019, and she found to have received a delivery of 3 kilograms. Wow, this is a sort of like a drug, right?
Yeah, it's a drug.
Ketamine.
Okay.
That's a drug. She got this delivered a parcel, and of course she's facing a charge of dangerous drug trafficking crime. And however, the Justice Department official went to the court in person and dissolved the decision, and also strongly say insisted to withdraw that charge, although the judge didn't agree. But however, because of the strong intervention of the Justice Department, and the charge was dropped. And so now, all this evidence, all these examples just show one thing, that the justice system is supposed to be the only facility for ordinary citizens to justice, to take those liability to justice. However, now it's totally undermined. And there's no, say, private settlement anymore. There's no justice. So this poster just tells us that, right?
So the law is survey about the Department of Justice. They only will need to ensure about the Hong Kong people, that the police have more power to protect them. Yeah.
Apparently, the government now supersede, and it's supersede, and it's more powerful than justice. So that shows that. Also shows that there's no separation of power. Executive power is more is more influential. Yeah.
Yeah.
And justice, there's no justice. Justice cannot be done anymore. These are also something like a contrast example. So what are they?
Yes, there's a one is the law, the judge to set
the one is a judge. Yes,
one
is a judge.
They said they disclosed about the police is a liar, cover the liar. The lie cover the lie. Yeah.
Oh, that one is a magistrate. He's the magistrate. Magistrate.
Yes, and they disclosed about the police have the evidence is some more about maybe a story, maybe a liar, maybe lie. So they said then it's a lie to cover the lie. So they will be, you can see the out, taking out because the pro-Beijing, the media to attack he, and said that he is yellow adjusted. So another one is just in because they have they one in Zhangguan O there are one who heard about the attack about the younger people or the protester. They have a promote about the poster. Then he said about they care about the people who can make about the hurt about people, and then have a higher emotion. So they, in this case, you can see about police how can say about to fake news or lie to cover the case, and then if you say the real thing, and then you will be kicked out in the adjustment team.
We basically see the contrast of these two legal personnel. Yeah, okay. One is comparatively, say, like fair. The other one is very much pro-Beijing, and the one is the magistrate, and he made judgment upon the police, and he says, according to his verdict, that the police, police statements are very contradictory against each other, and they use big words cover big words. So there's which implies that there's no detail, there's no concrete sound evidence to support their claims. Yeah, and then unfortunately, because of that, he's now removed from his position to do something else. And now we have this pro-Beijing judge. Yeah, and this is he actually judged a very famous case in terms that last year there was a person who stabbed 3 civilians in front of a Lennon Wall. Yeah, one was in critical condition. Yes, and then this judge, and he praised the stabber, the person who's stabbing others, for his noble show noble quality. So, and rather he penalized this person who stabbed others, and he praised the person who stabbed others. And he's supposed to be and then he also only say when he made the verdict, and he said, oh dear, I can't bear it. This is ridiculous. And he said that this person who stabbed others have shown some quality which is rarely seen. Yeah, in those in intellectuals, which have well-educated intellectuals and professional elites. And then he only sentenced this person 45 months in prison. So this is really light. Usually a person like that should have at least 7 years imprisonment, but he did that. We have these records here, which shows that at least 30 police, were sort of like complained. They were brought to court. However, their statements basically are very, how should I describe it? It's just a false statement. And they are typical of sophistry. That means they use some clever but false statement with the intention of deceiving. Yes, to cheat others. And they change their statements. Yes, and their statements were contradictory against each other. They are inconsistent, and they may exaggerate many things. And they use ones like a pile up, big words one after another. So this is absolutely ridiculous. And however, yes, what does the Justice Department spokesman say? They say, there is when the police are charged, and they say, well, there's no sufficient legal ground to support the charge. Because the evidence is not enough, and there is some mistake in principle. So, and this police, the wrongdoing police were all let off, were freed. So that's what's going on.
Which one? The right-hand side about the poster, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is so. They show how the police they have more about fake and a shit and a sweet bird. They more about the story to talk to cover the they have evidence to make a story or make a lie, and then they maybe will have, we can say, the fake news master. So the police can not be, you cannot believe the police have a good evidence to help you to make a judge.
Yeah, so police are not trustworthy at all. Yeah, you cannot. Their words are not credible at all, and they may lie. Yeah, they gave false statement and deceiving. Yes,
Yeah.
and absolutely shameful. And they may say like paint black and white or white to
White
black.
to red. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So they may just tell you lies, and they may just torture you to extort guilty confession. So that's typical Hong Kong police now.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. We can next about the poster. That is about Hong Kong story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is about the law. Then they have evidence come from the about police to support for them. Then yes. And no, I so wrong about the poster.
The poster is about extradition law. So
maybe you first. The GTV the poster is wrong.
GTP poster is wrong. Okay, I do not read the GTP. Oh, GTP, or maybe.
No.
Oh yeah.
Okay, it's okay. They have
okay
so we'll talk about why before the mainland people will go expect to Hong Kong because they don't believe the PCP, and then the lawyer will be finally they have just read about the report. The report is only to provide the evidence or not on yet, but this evidence cannot have a good judgment, or they have provide a good the whole story of short story. So they the lawyer cannot to adjust anything. When the Department of Justice
judges
they need to disclose the case, they just only agree to that because the duty just only to adjust the case.
Oh yeah. Yes. When they talk about this is more about the extradition law. Yeah. And somebody said, well, the extradition, the amendment. So let's have a refresh. Let's refresh our memory about the protests last year. It all triggered by the amendment to the extradition law proposed by Carrie Lam. And then some people would say that how could that have anything to do with me, because I'm not a fugitive. So how could I be relevant to that extradition bill? How would I be affected by it? People said then this poster is to give the information to this group of people in terms of it is very relevant. Yeah, it is very relevant because you cannot trust the CCP, the Communist Party, because in mainland China, the court can make a verdict by means of fabricating the reasons. For example, they would say that you inside troubles, yeah, and you committed tax evasion and terrorism, or you knock down and kill people in a car accident. Whether you believe it or not, it's really entirely up to the court to say things, right? And then some people would argue in Hong Kong that the judge could be the gatekeeper. Yeah, that means the judge would protect you. And then they say they refer to 3 Hong Kong eminent judges, and their answers are no, they can't. Because judges only make the judgment based on the documents that are presented and put in front of them. So they themselves are not supposed to verify the truth or falsehood of that document. So the judge cannot say, because of that, the judge cannot disapprove in case the document present to him is against you. So that's the reason. Okay, so that means you couldn't really rely on judge to keep the door to be the gatekeeper to protect you. And then it says that how can you trust the CCP? And you know, for many Hong Kongers, they actually, to start with, as illegal immigrants, they actually risk their lives to try to smuggle themselves into Hong Kong, in order to escape from mainland China, from the CCP ruling. Now, so this is a reminder to people that the CCP is absolutely not trustworthy. You should never believe the CCP. You should never believe the judgment of the courts in mainland China. So that is very relevant to every single one in Hong Kong. They could say anything. They could fabricate. Fabricate any excuse and catch you, and then take you to mainland China. So it's very dangerous.
We can see the 12 the Hong Kong guard, they will be escape the Hong Kong they will maybe illegal to Taiwan, but to the mainland, you will capture them. But for now, you they in mainland the city, they have the law how to protect them. You can see the information about the mainland lawyer that need to want to avoid that elevate to them, but of the CCP they will say not, and then will in the information about talking the CCP will talk about the lawyer. If you involve this case, you will be not loved about the country, and you will be have a problem. So some mainland will be feel the pressure, so they will quit about the case. So you can see how the different is in everybody understand. The 12 younger people understand Hong Kong in Hong Kong is not safe because the CCP is controlled in the Hong Kong, and then the law cannot protect them because they will be will be have not a good adjustment in Hong Kong. So now they in a mainland, the mainland law, the law about the law cannot do anything to protect the 12 younger people.
Yeah, indeed. And we have this news report about this 12 young Hong Kongers who try to flee away from Hong Kong, to Taiwan. And unfortunately, they were caught by the coastal guard of mainland China. And so these 12 young Hong Kong people, rather than trialed or detained in Hong Kong, they were now sent to Shenzhen, and they are incarcerated there. And by 8th September, the update was that they couldn't basically allowed to see their lawyers. So 5 mainland Chinese lawyers were declined to meet their clients. So at least 2 mainland Chinese lawyers gave up the service because of the pressure. And also the detention station in Yantian, Shenzhen now tightened their guard. So, and there is basically no notable progress in terms of their lawyers trying to visit them, but they either be declined, for the visit, or they are waiting for further notice about their visit. So that basically there's nothing they cannot do anything. So that is supposed to be the judicial situation in China, as no possible, of course, to protect anybody. And then these Hong Kongers now supposed to be judged in mainland China. So this shows us that Hong Kong justice system cannot protect its citizens, and B, Hong Kong people could be detained and kidnapped and taken or extradited to mainland China and get tried there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can feel
so this is entirely, you can see absolute destruction, absolute damage of the justice system of Hong Kong. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
We
Next.
can go to the last 4 poster. One is about
the last poster.
How to one is how to easy to destroy about the CCP country, I think, because you have a you give a mask, or you have a book, or you have just talk something, or maybe have a promote some the graph, the voice, and then you will be destroyed about the control in CCP. So you can see why the national security law in Hong Kong. This because they will be heard about the CCP. So easy to destroy the country.
My understanding is that this is about, say, like when the national security law for Hong Kong is in effect, yeah, and how easy for one to be charged for subversion in terms that you so like you turn the you endanger, you threaten the national regime.
Yeah.
So that's called subversion. How easy it would be for one to be charged for subversion.
Yeah.
So it's too easy, absolutely easy. It's unbelievably easy. In terms of, okay, this poster gives 3 examples in terms that, okay, if one issue a facial mask, if write some books, and if someone to like spread gospel, they could all be charged for subversion. They have examples here, and never mind chanting slogans or sing songs, in the shopping mall, and these are, of course, would be taken as an offense of subversion. And then they have these examples. For example, there's someone who issued the facial mask, free facial mask, in the street, and the police came over to intervene, to say, and they even took out, you can see that the purple flag, which means that's the reminder of the national security law. Say you are about, if you do not stop this, you are about to be charged. Yeah, because this is offense, and so they had to say like wrap up their thing and left, otherwise it will be charged. It's taken an offense. And then another thing is that some like political figures who once published some books, addressing political issues, now they're all removed from public libraries, and even no book is allowed to address any small political issues, and they think where they end up to, that only the children books are free, could be safe. So that also shows that it's very easy for somebody who write a book to be charged for subversion. And the last one is like we have this religious group, a group of priests. They published online the so-called Hong Kong 2020 gospel declaration. And then they were called out by some pro-Beijing media, and so they forced to flee away from Hong Kong. So then now, that means nowadays, Hong Kong people are only allowed to worship Xi Jinping. Nobody else, no God. say no God. You're not supposed to worship your own God. You're not allowed to say like have your own faith or religious belief. So, and the whole thing that this poster tells us is that even a very tiny little thing could be suspected of subversion. It could be potentially considered as an offense, yeah, of subversion. And they say, well, this is it's a miracle for the CCP regime has survived for about 7 decades. Yeah, that's the information given to us, by this poster. Yes, what's the poster on the right tell us?
There's only about the one student who have an introduction about some politics, the language, or maybe have some personal thinking. So the school will stop him, and then they will be report about the education station, and then if the student want to go back at learning, but they need to have a bigger the record, and then the not allowed to have a society. If you society movement, if you have this, you will be kicked out of school. So they will see the Hong Kong the school will be have some politics pressure, and student will be just only study their they need to study, not need to allow talk about anything for the politics, or maybe your language have some school is not allowed, so you will be focused.
Yeah, this shows us how tight the grip of the government control politically. Yeah, so we have this middle school. There's some incident allegedly. There is a student, who's using this software with his personal introduction involving some political opinion, and then he was forced to suspend. He was forced to suspend from class for a whole week by the school authority, and the school authority reported to the Bureau of Education, and they gave him warning in terms that if he wanted to come back to school, and he will of course face the penalty in terms that they will make he would have record of 2 severe misconducts, and also he's warned that in case he participates in the pro democracy movement, and he'll be kicked out of the school.
Yeah.
So that shows the political censorship in middle school to very young students. Yeah. So it shows that how terrible it is. And this is also example to show that in Hong Kong, it's the society is a highly politicalized. It's not a rule of law society anymore, and because of the CCP's political oppression.
Yeah. So the final 2 poster to be completed. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. The final is maybe so the if you in a maybe have a danger, you just only SOS or get a help. Nobody who
call
come.
for help. Yes.
Yeah, nobody will come. But if you write down the global Hong Kong, so the police will be come immediately. So you can see that maybe a joke, but in Hong Kong now, you can see police is not for service for you, and not for help your life. Is they will be censorship about your language. And then the right hand side will just say the freedom is when the freedom become to just maybe illegal.
a
and then
crime.
A crime, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we
When
have
freedom
no,
becomes a crime,
yeah, and we don't have any way to skip.
we have no way out.
No way out.
We have no way out. When
But
freedom becomes a crime,
yeah,
we have no way out.
and
Yeah.
then
Yes, this is and on the left hand side, yes, that's a cartoon, and it shows us something very, very strange. So it's like the situation in Hong Kong, and if you call for help, and even say like 39 minutes later, no police turned up, so they won't come to rescue you. They won't come to help you. However, if you say like write something like liberate Hong Kong or restore Hong Kong, that's supposed to be a political slogan, and then just 1 minute, and the police would be here, and they will encircle you, and you see you are on the very, very strong flashlight, yeah. So they will just, yes, they pointed to you, they focus on you to say, well, you are encircled, and just mind your behavior. It could be offense. So that's a very, say, like a vivid description about the current conditions in Hong Kong. And then the last page, which really gives us the idea. And the freedom, there's no freedom now. When freedom becomes a crime, we have no way out. So that is the situation faced by Hong Kongers. And this is a really terrible situation. And this is the effect of the demise of rule of law society.
Yeah.
Nobody is safe. Yeah, it's all because of the CCP.
Yeah. Take down
all right.
The CCP.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to say?
No. Okay, this is our program for about today. Is talking about we need to show about the cover. It's very clearly about how the CCP to control the Hong Kong government and then destroy the rule of law. And then you can see this poster or the picture is more clearly about how the situation in Hong Kong, how the people cannot use the law to protect themselves, because you are not in a freedom country or city. You in the police state city. The power is controlled in the higher officer or the control in the CCP, the head in there. When they happy, they will be allow you to talking about something. When they don't happy or they feel the pressure or feel the you is destroy them, so they need to kill you.
Yes, indeed. Just a very brief summary. It's like in Hong Kong, the rule of law is died. It's basically all depends on the government to judge. Well, the government, when we say the administration headed by Carrie Lam, the CCP's proxy, to decide what is right, what is wrong. Yeah, and there's no justice at all. There's no checks and balance. There's no separation of power, and anything one displeases the government, the police will get charged in the name, ironically, by the law, or legally. So this is ridiculous. And that is the main theme of this episode.
And
yes,
and I will say the last one is no people will save in the CCP, or if a higher quality or higher power, when they going down, then the next one is them. So everybody is not safe in the CCP. I will say that.
Okay.
No one can expect this cycle. It's all in a bad cycle. Is a dying cycle about that. Okay.
Thank you very much for attending our episode today, and we hope you could enjoy it. And please feel free to leave your feedbacks on GTV or YouTube. We hope to see you soon next week. Same time, same place. Thank you very much, Skype P and me, Dr. Ming. Thank you for attending. And please stay in tune.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.